It's morning coffee time. And I thought, while I'm sitting here on my little windowsill, I might as well talk about something, a story about Japan. Cheers. And good morning to everybody. Once I was in Kyoto. This story is about energy. And energy is constant movement. Everything in life is energy. We're all energy. Everything is energy. Everything is a constant movement, a constant flow. Nothing ceases and nothing begins. And how you can make an impact on that flow. But back to the story. I was in Kyoto and this was winter and I was going for a walk. And I pinpointed a spot that I can go for a hike through the bushes. And it was up in the hills of Kyoto there. I think Tenmangu Shrine. And I think you go up there and then you walk down. I can't fully remember, but hey. And what actually happened was I was walking through this, there was nobody around, nobody. And I was walking through this section of the bush. A really beautiful spot, beautiful big trees, moss on the ground everywhere. You know, one of those really like scenic spots. And I saw the odd person, but there wasn't many. It was like less than a handful. And all of a sudden, this guy was walking towards me. He wasn't a hiker, or maybe he was. He was wearing his business clothes. Now I had come from an area that wasn't populated. There were no houses. And all of a sudden there's this guy in his business outfit walking towards me. He didn't look at me. He was looking away, he was looking down. And all of a sudden in my head I'm going, why is this guy here? This is really odd, this is out of place, this is not something you should be seeing. And everybody I passed, I was, saying hello to, saying konnichiwa to. Because that's what you do, and you smile. But this guy, I didn't. Because he didn't look at me, he didn't want to interact. And so I passed him on by. I didn't want to think that something would be, something else was going on, that he was going to do something, that it wasn't a good situation. I didn't want to think that, so I put that out of my mind. But there was also something inside of me that said, why didn't I say hello? Why didn't I just smile at this person and say hello? What stopped me from doing that? And I wasn't having a go at myself. And I'm not having a go at myself now. It's more of a curiosity of what actually stops us from showing that moment of compassion to somebody. And for me, it was this, if I think about it now, if I feel it now, it was this fear of minding somebody else's business, this fear of being in somebody else's space, of getting it wrong. Like, what are you going to get wrong? You're only saying hello. You're only saying hello, you're only smiling. It's not getting things wrong. Just because somebody doesn't want to speak at that time doesn't mean you can't smile. And then that rational thought pops into your head, which is not rational at all. And that rational thought says to you, hey, there's nothing going on here. This guy's just going for a walk. He's just chosen this really remote, weird spot to go for a walk, and maybe he needs to go for a walk today. Maybe he's had a hard day at work. That can happen. I wish he'd changed his clothing first, though. That isn't rational thought. That's just you coming up with justifications why you couldn't smile and say hello. That one simple act of smiling and saying hello to somebody can change their whole day, their whole life, their whole existence. Because that's energy. You're giving out energy. You're giving out love. You're giving out compassion. And they're receiving that no matter what. And that simple act of connection, because that's what people are all looking for. We're all looking for connection. Deep down, that is one fundamental thing that we all desire, and that is connection. Because we've lost it within ourselves. So we search for it out there. We've got to get it back within. We've got to connect within. That's very important in life. So make that change, make that effort, make that point of compassion. And if you don't feel bad about it. Because I don't feel bad. There's no point in feeling bad and taking that with you. It's a case of being curious and questioning yourself. Why didn't I do that? In that specific moment, why did I just keep walking? Acknowledging it within yourself and being honest within yourself and go, hey, those things weren't real. It's just a smile and a hello. In my little neighborhood here, I go for walks. I like to go for walks in the morning early because it's still quite warm. And there was this older gentleman up the road, and he was standing in the middle of the road. I think he was with his wife and she was putting out the recyclables. And I said, oh, hi, gozaimasu to everybody, and I smile. Even people that don't want to talk or say anything, that's okay. But this man looked at me and his face lit up. It was the most beautiful face I have ever seen. And talking about it, I'm smiling and I have such joy about it. It was the most beautiful face I've ever seen. His face lit up. Ohayou gozaimasu. And at the same time, I couldn't help but smile so much back at him. You know, they say that, you know, there are certain people that walk into a room and they just light up the room. That was this guy. But he was lighting up a whole street. And it's amazing what that simple thing does to people, how that changes your whole day, how that changes your whole perception of life. Maybe it wakes you up. Maybe you're just having, you know, you're just going for a walk and you're paying attention to too many other things. Your mind is elsewhere, and somebody brings you back to that moment, to that precious moment that you're missing because your mind is thinking about all this other stuff that you apparently have to do, and what's more important. Well, this guy brought me back to the moment, this moment of presence, this moment of joy. And his face was so beautiful. And the thing is, after I said, ohayou gozaimasu, I just kept looking in his face and I couldn't help but giggle in joy. I was just giggling. I was, oh my goodness, this person is beautiful. I hope I see him again. As I said, everything is energy. Everything is movement in life. And it just takes one little moment to smile at somebody and to change somebody's day. I'm still thinking of his face. So be prepared to be that ripple in the pond, that ripple that changes everything. Be prepared to make that little jab in life. You know, that goes back to, I can't remember the experiment properly. I've read about this experiment a few times and it just, I I've got to do it again. The slit experiment, where they put the light goes through the slit, and it's just going a certain way, and then they put a person in there to observe, and the simple act of observation changes the way where the light goes. Yes, I do have to read that experiment again. I think it's called the slit experiment, I can't remember. But energy is like that. That simple act of observation changes everything. Changes the trajectory of life itself. That simple movement from one thing to another. And if you notice that one little thing can change your day, one little thought can change your day, one little perception shift can change your day, then be the person that you need to be to make that happen. Create that change in your day. Create that change in somebody else's day. Learn to have more compassion. Cultivate compassion. Cultivate gratitude. Because how could you not have gratitude for this and all the beautiful people in the world? We either focus on the things that we don't want, we focus on the chaos, we focus on the conflict, or do we focus on the most important things that we can cultivate within, that we can heal within, and we can make a difference in the world? We don't have to focus on the stuff that they're making us focus on. It's a beautiful day, and I hope this has made a difference in your life, just for one moment. That's all it takes. Bye for now.